Did you know that trusting the wrong financial professional could literally put your entire business at risk? Welcome, everyone. Today, we're jumping right into a highly practical, absolutely crucial explainer for anyone who runs a business, manages significant assets, or honestly just wants some peace of mind during tax season. We're going to walk through the exact process of verifying CPA credentials right here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It might sound like just another administrative chore, but as we're about to see, it is quite literally the frontline defense for your financial security.
So I want to kick things off by asking you a very direct question. Are you absolutely certain that your CPA is actually licensed right now? And I don't mean licensed 10 years ago. I mean actively licensed today. You know, it's so easy to see a nice framed certificate on an office wall or a fancy signature block in an email and just assume everything is perfectly in order. But assuming, well, that can be a wildly expensive mistake.
And here is a real-world example that hits the nail on the head. This is from a professional standards report by Lathrop GPM. In this high-stakes scenario, state examiners actually discovered that an accountant who was auditing financial statements for a franchisor had her license revoked by her state board of accountancy. And why? Because of a history of disciplinary actions. Just imagine finding out that the person handling your most sensitive financial data, making official assurances on your behalf, isn't even legally authorized to do so. The financial and legal liabilities there are just staggering.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll cover the CPA assurance, then the Virginia Board of Accountancy, step-by-step verification, navigating license statuses, crucial mistakes to avoid, and finally, conclusion and expert tips. All right, let's start with Section 1, the CPA assurance, why certification matters.
We really need to bust a common myth right out of the gate. People use the terms accountant and CPA interchangeably all the time, but legally speaking, they're totally different. Basically, anyone can call themselves an accountant, offer general tax services, or prepare unaudited statements. But a CPA, a certified public accountant, is someone who has passed the incredibly rigorous uniform CPA examination, met strict experience requirements, and is specifically authorized to provide official assurance services, like audits. Plus, they're bound by a strict code of ethics and mandatory continuing professional education. Essentially, that CPA license is your safety net.
Which brings us to the organization keeping that safety net intact. Section 2, Virginia Board of Accountancy, the regulatory body. Established way back in 1910, the VBOA is an independent state agency, and their entire mission is protecting you, the public. How do they do it? By regulating CPAs through exams, issuing licenses, auditing their continuing education, and, most importantly, enforcing the rules. The VBOA has the actual legal authority to slap down penalties, suspend licenses, or even completely revoke the practice privileges of individuals or firms that violate professional standards.
So, how can you use the VBOA to protect yourself? Let's get into Section 3, step-by-step verification, finding the truth.
According to professional standards reports, there's a highly effective 4-step protocol you should be following to mitigate your risk. We've got the initial status check, cross-border verification, disciplinary screening, and, if needed, official verification. Let's walk through exactly how to execute each of these. For steps 1 and 2, you're just heading online. First, jump onto the VBOA website and use their public licensee search. You just plug in your CPA's last name or their license number. Now, this database updates within 24 hours of any process changes, so you're getting a near real-time look at where they stand. But what if your CPA does business across state lines? That's step 2. You'll want to use a fantastic, totally free national tool called CPAverify.org. It aggregates licensing data from participating jurisdictions all over the country, which means you can check their cross-border mobility without having to manually hunt down a bunch of different state board websites. Now, here is where most people stop, and honestly, where most people make a massive error. Step 3 is the disciplinary screening. You've got to think of a CPA license kind of like an iceberg. An active status on CPA Verify, that only shows you the tip of the iceberg, right above the water. It will not tell you if that practitioner has a history of disciplinary actions or administrative sanctions in Virginia. To see the whole picture, you have to cross-reference your search with the VBOA's online disciplinary actions registry. And hey, if you're hiring a firm for a massive corporate audit, it's absolutely worth emailing the VBOA's enforcement division directly, just to make 100% sure their record is spotless. Finally, we have Step 4, official verification. You usually only need to worry about this if you're an employer needing verified proof or if a Virginia CPA is applying for a reciprocal license in a different state. In those cases, a quick screenshot of a web page won't cut it. You actually need a formal letter of good standing.
If the CPA requests this automatically through their online VBOA portal, it's a non-refundable $25. But if you need a physical, manual form filled out for an employer, that requires mailing a written request and a $50 check to the VBOA headquarters in Henrico. Once you look someone up, you'll see a specific license status. Let's decode those in Section 4, Navigating License Statuses. Decoding the jargon.
The absolute key here is understanding what these classifications legally authorize a person to do. Active is exactly what you want. It means they are fully authorized to practice and use the title. But look at inactive. That means they're exempt from continuing education, usually because their current job doesn't actually require accounting skills, so their practice is heavily restricted. Expired means they absolutely cannot use the CPA title or provide attest services. Suspended and revoked, those are massive red flags for compliance failures or misconduct. And emeritus simply means they're a retired, honored practitioner. At the end of the day, always make sure the person actively doing your tax or audit work is listed as active.
But even with all these tools, people still slip up. Let's move to Section 5, Crucial Mistakes to Avoid. Pitfalls in Verification.
Here is a surprising and critical effect. The VBOA has a strict zero grace period policy for renewals. Licenses absolutely must be renewed by June 30th. If they aren't, boom, the license automatically flips to expired on July 1st. You just cannot assume a license lasts forever. Other huge pitfalls include skipping that disciplinary registry we talked about, confusing an inactive status with full permission to practice, and relying on a quick Google search or LinkedIn profile instead of using the official VBOA or CPA verified databases. Remember, anyone can literally just type CPA on their resume, but only the VBOA can tell you if it's actually true.
I absolutely love this quote from the VBOA Consumer Guide because it perfectly hits on the biggest foundational mistake people make. Generally speaking, all CPAs are accountants, but not all accountants are CPAs. If you are bringing someone on for sensitive assurance services, do not make the mistake of hiring an unverified individual just because you thought the two titles meant the exact same thing. Okay, let's wrap this whole thing up with Section 6, Conclusion and Expert Tips, Securing Your Business. Beyond checking those state databases, the source material offers some fantastic pro tips. First up, always double-check those disciplinary records. Second, take a look at their email or website address. The .cpa domain is restricted and managed by the AICPA. Only actively licensed CPAs and registered firms can even buy it, so it's an incredible quick digital trust signal. Third, if they're prepping your taxes for compensation, they legally must have a valid PTN, which is a Preparer Tax Identification Number issued by the IRS. And finally, if they're electronically filing your federal returns, they need an EFIN, an Electronic Filing Identification Number, which shows they've actually passed an IRS suitability assessment. Don't be afraid to ask for proof of both.
And before we officially finish up, just a standard professional disclaimer. The information we've covered in this explainer is accurate as of today. However, state policies, laws, and administrative fees can and definitely do change over time. So always make sure to verify current regulations and requirements directly with the Virginia Board of Accountancy. So we've explored the tools, decoded the statuses, and uncovered the hidden icebergs of disciplinary records. Now that you know exactly what goes into that three-letter title, I want to leave you with this one thought. Are you absolutely certain who is handling your financial future? Seriously, don't wait until tax season is a mess or an audit goes totally sideways to find out. Take 10 minutes today, head over to the VBOA website, and verify. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy verifying!